everyone. I'm African, so you know I'm all about the carbs. Hello there, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for coming. I really do appreciate your time. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being part of my family. You know I love and appreciate everything you do for me. So today we are going to be talking about the things that we as women do to either increase our chances of getting fibroids, or if we already have fibroids, to increase our symptoms and the pains that we go through when we're dealing with this condition. I know it is such a difficult and painful topic to talk about. As someone who has had to deal with it, I completely understand. But I just believe that the conversation and education needs to be had and shared in order for us to really overcome, prevent, or reduce the chances of uterine fibroids amongst women. Don't want this to be a prolonged video. I want to jump right into it and just give you all of the don'ts, and hopefully you can work and incorporate that into your everyday life. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the don'ts and all the things that we do to harm ourselves without knowing. The first thing I want to get into is diet. I know a lot of people talk about diet for everything, and as someone who's really passionate about health, and I fell off the wagon and now I'm back on the wagon, I'm here to tell you that your diet is a significant aspect of your life. Not just for health, but your everyday life. A lot of people deal with sluggishness. A lot of people deal with obesity. A lot of people deal with depression. Would you believe that your diet has a connection with all those aspects of your life? It does. And most importantly, if you are dealing with fibroids, your diet plays a major role in whether you are going to recover and shrinking those fibroids, or you're gonna either get fibroids eventually, or if you already have it, it's just gonna increase. So let's talk about what not to eat or what to reduce in your diet when you're struggling with uterine fibroids. The first thing to consider is red meats. Red meats are foods that are more difficult for your body to digest, or foods that are very high in fat. That not only feeds the fibroids, but you're giving your body a harder time and more work to process all of that. So studies have shown that fatty foods and red meats are kind of like your kryptonite. Now, I'm not saying cut it off completely, because I know if these have been staples in your diet, it's kind of difficult to just cut it off completely. However, I am saying that what you can do is reduce the intake of that. So if you were eating red meat, say 5 times a week, can you replace that with other foods possibly and reduce that intake to about 2 or 3 times a week? You will see a significant change, not only in your energy and everything around you, but also in the way you feel overall. The next thing I want to talk about are foods with high sugar content. Studies also show that foods with high sugar content can not only lead to fibroids, but if you have it, it can also increase the risk and pains of fibroids, and even take those cysts to a large point where you will need to have surgery. And so you do want to be very, very careful with foods that are high in sugar. Okay, I'm about to upset a few people. I do apologize. But another thing that was found very high on the list when it comes to diet is alcohol and caffeine. And I want to speak from experience when I say that when I got diagnosed with fibroids, I had to significantly reduce my intake of alcohol and sugars. I'm not really a strong alcohol drinker. I usually will have a glass or 2 of wine. However, because wine is so high in sugars and carbs, it does affect us significantly. A lot of alcohols are also significantly high in carbs, and so it doesn't benefit you at all. If anything, it only adds to the chances of getting fibroids, or it increases the pains of already existing fibroids. Another thing that came high on the list is caffeine. I know I'm poking and pushing some buttons here, but caffeine is also very high on the list of foods that you should either reduce or get rid of. Now, please keep in mind that I'm not trying to take away your fun. I'm African, so you know I'm all about the carbs and all the sugars and everything. However, what you can do and what I have been able to do personally is to reduce the intake of those things that are so staple in our diets. Coming down to everybody's favorite thing, it's one of the most difficult things to take out of your diet: carbs. Carbs are also very, very bad for you when you have fibroids. It can increase your chances of getting fibroids. So you just want to be really careful with the substance intake. Now, I know when it comes to diet, it's very difficult to talk about. It sounds like you're being punished, but you really aren't. My suggestion is, as we go through these different episodes, just take notes and lessons from these. Try to incorporate them in your everyday life and see if you see changes by doing these things. Once again, you don't have to cut it completely out of your diet. All I'm suggesting is you reduce the intake of them and see if you feel any better. Let's talk about another thing that you might not like me for. Once again, I am a health enthusiast, and so I've done the research, put in a little bit of work, and I'm bringing to you things that I have incorporated in my journey to shrinking my fibroids for them to be a non-factor. And so I do want to share from the perspective of science, but also it's a practical and a theory type situation. So you can read about it all you want, but I only came to believe in these methods after applying them myself and noticing that my belly is shrinking. I do have a lot more energy, and I do have less cramps and shorter period pains and cycles. One other major thing that you should not do is cut out exercise from your life. You have to include workouts in your life. The more your body is moving, the more calories you're burning, the less likely things or fats are gonna stick to your body and promote that growth or that environment to where the fibroids can grow. They really don't like too much stuff. So if you're not feeding them the carbs and the alcohol and everything, you've already created an environment that kind of starves the cysts. But then when you start working out and moving your body, you're also creating an uncomfortable environment. So not only are they hungry, they're now being moved around. That muscle is not just sitting. The stomach is actually being worked. You're moving, you're exercising, you're working out your whole entire body. That's one major advice that health practitioners give. When you do deal with fibroids, you definitely do not want to cut out exercise or working out from your life. You want to add it as a routine because you will need an active life to be able to combat the challenges that comes with having fibroids. I know it sounds like a punishment, but trust and believe, if you're on that journey to health, you definitely 100% want to put everything that you have into it for your recovery to be possible. Last but not the least, you cannot be smoking when you have fibroids. I know that smoking is a habit that is hard to break, but significant studies have shown that smoking does reduce the oxygen that goes through your body. You definitely don't want to add any more complications to your body when you are dealing with something like cysts or anything that has to do with internal organ challenges. So it is very, very essential that you gear towards quitting smoking, if at all possible. I know that it can be very challenging to break a habit like smoking, but trust and believe, as you may already know, it's not doing you any good for your entire body, but especially if you have fibroids, you're definitely doing yourself a major, major disservice by continuing that habit, because it only increases the challenges that comes with the pains and the stresses of fibroids. Okay guys, so I have talked a lot today about fibroids and what not to do when you have them. The next time I talk to you about fibroids, I want to be able to tell you what you should do when you have fibroids and how you can shrink those fibroids, etc., etc. So I'm super excited once again to be doing this with you guys and sharing my journey with you guys. Like I said in my previous video, or 2 videos before this one, I am also on a weight loss journey. Since I was diagnosed with fibroids, I have gained weight. And when I spoke with my doctor, she said it had been developing for a while, and those with fibroids are prone to gaining weight rapidly. So I am so excited not only to be sharing my experiences with fibroids, but also to be sharing my journey to getting back to my ideal weight and my ideal body. I hope that you don't let this discourage you from anything. You can 100% do whatever you put your mind to. This is not a challenge that you cannot overcome. I do encourage you to do things in little strides. I don't encourage you to completely cut anything off, because then you will end up craving it later and it will become a not so great situation. So everything I've recommended today, I do suggest that you do in doses and see if you see progress. Then you can begin to increase little by little until you're comfortable with little to none at all. All right, you guys, the next time I speak to you, we're gonna be talking about the do's, and we're gonna be talking about what progress I have seen since 7 months ago when I was diagnosed with fibroids, and what I have done to overcome my challenges that have been presented to me. Well, thank you once again so much for watching. I hope you got something from this video. I'm super excited to see where this journey takes us, and I will see you in the next one. Please remember that everything in life are stages, and we should definitely not skip any steps. Take it one step and one day at a time. Thank you once again. My name is Leader Renee Nolan. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.